We've all been there, right in the middle of something important, like a high-stakes job interview or the nerves of a first date, when suddenly our emotions hijack the moment. Our nerves jump into the driver's seat, steering us into a storm of sweaty palms, rapid heartbeats, and stammered words. It feels like we're just passengers in our own bodies, at the mercy of racing thoughts and pounding hearts. But what if I told you that some of the wisest minds in history the Stoics mastered the art of staying composed under pressure long before the word anxiety ever became part of our daily vocabulary? Today, we're diving deep into their world to uncover timeless secrets, ones not just aimed at surviving pressure, but at turning it into power. So if you've ever felt consumed or thrown off balance by your emotions or impulsive reactions, stay with us. These insights could change the way you navigate stress forever. We're about to embark on a journey through time to understand how ancient Stoic wisdom can help you remain the master of your emotions and actions, no matter what chaos life throws your way. If you find value in what we're about to explore, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with someone who could really use it. Let's get started. Imagine your emotions as a well-meaning friend, someone who cares deeply, but doesn't always know when to back off. They're not your enemy. In fact, emotions are powerful signals, helping us detect threats, celebrate wins, and form deeper bonds with others. But here's the catch. Without awareness and control, those same emotions can cloud our thinking and overpower our decisions. Why? Because our brains are still wired for survival in a world that no longer exists. The ancient systems designed to protect us from predators or life-threatening danger are still very much alive and active, even when the threat is just a tough meeting or a social misstep. Think about it. When an emotion flares up, it's like an alarm bell echoing in your mind. A loud, insistent signal that pays no attention to timing. It doesn't care if you're giving a speech or trying to stay calm during an argument. This emotional alarm often goes off before your logical mind even has a chance to wake up and assess the situation. The result? You feel overwhelmed, flustered, and completely out of sync. But here's the kicker. You are not powerless in this moment. That alarm may ring loudly, but you still have a choice. This is exactly where Stoicism steps in. Stoicism teaches that it's not the emotions themselves we need to eliminate or fear, but rather how we choose to respond to them. The goal isn't to become emotionless, but to become emotionally wise. It's about learning to recognize the feeling, step back, and respond deliberately instead of reacting impulsively. Because while we can't always control when or how an emotion hits us, we can choose what happens next. It begins with recognition, training ourselves to notice the triggers, patterns, and physical signs of emotional activation. With that awareness, we gain the power to anticipate and manage what comes next. Of course, this isn't a quick fix. It takes time, patience, and self-reflection. But like any skill, emotional mastery can be learned. Learning to see these emotional signals for what they are, instructive, not commanding, give us the chance to step up to the helm and steer our responses in a direction that aligns more closely with our values and long-term goals. When we learn to view emotions this way, we step into a position of personal authority. Mastering this doesn't just improve our internal landscape, it becomes a cornerstone for healthier relationships, wiser decision-making, and ultimately, a more meaningful and fulfilling life. The Stoics held a deeply insightful view. Emotions arise not from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to those events. Consider this: if you're interrupted during a meeting, and you interpret it as a personal attack, you're likely to feel anger. But what if you didn't see it as an offense? Would the anger still appear? Here's where Stoicism becomes particularly fascinating. It teaches us that by shifting our judgments, we can influence and even reshape our emotional responses. This practice isn't about suppressing what we feel or pretending we're unaffected. Instead, it's about stepping back and examining the hidden beliefs that drive those emotions. Take Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. He faced unimaginable pressure, political conspiracies, relentless warfare, and devastating plagues. And yet, he famously reminded himself and us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His message is clear. The chaos of the world doesn't have to determine the state of our inner lives. Even in the middle of external turbulence, we can retain a calm center by choosing how we respond. Similarly, Epictetus, a Stoic teacher born into slavery, emphasized a transformative principle. It is not what happens to us, but how we interpret what happens that shapes our emotions. It's not things that upset us, he taught, but our judgment about things. This subtle but profound shift puts the reins back in our hands. We may not always be able to prevent the initial surge of emotion, that instinctual gut reaction, but we can choose what follows. We can pause. We can reflect. We can decide whether the emotion deserves to be acted upon or simply observed and let go. What makes Stoicism especially empowering is that it's not just a philosophical theory, it's a daily, lived practice. The Stoics developed and used practical tools like premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. This technique involved mentally preparing for potential setbacks by imagining them in advance. But far from being pessimistic, this practice served to reduce emotional shock. When hardship arrived, it didn't feel like a sudden ambush, it felt like familiar terrain. It helped them face difficulties with greater clarity and composure. Through tools like these, Stoicism invites us to view life not as a string of emotional landmines, but as a rich training ground for developing strength, clarity, and inner peace. It offers a path to live with resilience, not by avoiding emotion, but by rising above emotional chaos with deliberate, thoughtful choice. By adopting the Stoic mindset, we don't just survive life's storms, we grow through them, gaining deeper insight into ourselves and discovering an untapped reserve of capability and calm. Now that we understand that our emotions stem from our judgments, and not the events themselves, let's delve into the profound Stoic principle of choice. Choosing. What happens to us? That's often beyond our control. But choosing our response? That's where our true power lies. Believe it or not, in that single choice exists the foundation of our freedom, strength, and resilience. The Stoics teach a life-changing insight. Between the stimulus, the event, and the response lies a space. And in that space rests our power to choose how we respond. This space, however brief, is where our emotional freedom begins. It's where impulse gives way to intention. This concept is more than just comforting, it's empowering. It reminds us that no matter what life throws our way, we always have the final say in how we handle it. Whether it's a cutting remark from a colleague, an unexpected financial blow, or the heartbreak of personal loss, our emotional reaction doesn't have to be automatic. We have the ability and the responsibility to choose our response. Think of life as a dynamic dance. Events come at us quickly, sometimes chaotically. Emotions surge like sudden music changes, urging us to move impulsively. But just like a trained dancer chooses each step with grace and intention, we too can choose how to move with, around, or even away from our emotional impulses. This doesn't mean we suppress our feelings. Not at all. It means we learn to acknowledge them fully, allow them to rise, and then make a deliberate decision about how best to proceed in a way that aligns with our values, character, and long-term goals. To make this idea more than just a theory, the Stoics emphasize the development of prosoch, or mindful attention. This practice is about staying grounded in the present, becoming aware of our emotional triggers the moment they emerge, and using that awareness to consciously steer our response. By cultivating mindfulness, we widen that precious space between stimulus and response. In doing so, we give ourselves the opportunity to act from wisdom rather than impulse, to pause, breathe, and make a choice we won't regret. This space is what enabled Stoic thinkers like Seneca to remain composed, even in times of immense pressure and turmoil. Seneca advocated for rehearsing potential worst-case scenarios in the mind, not to foster fear, but to soften the blow if such things did come to pass. By visualizing adversity, we train our minds to meet it not with panic, but with preparation. In doing so, we become less reactive, more thoughtful, more grounded. Embracing this Stoic mindset builds a quiet strength within us, resilience. And true resilience doesn't come from dodging hardship. It's forged in the fire by facing challenges with clarity, courage, and the unshakable resolve to remain centered. Each time we choose a thoughtful response that reflects our highest values, we reinforce our ability to stay strong in the face of future tests. Like muscles strengthened through repetition, our emotional discipline becomes more refined, more instinctive. As we move deeper into Stoic practices, it becomes evident, simply knowing you have a choice isn't enough. You must develop the strategies to make that choice and make it wisely. Here are some time-tested techniques drawn directly from Stoic wisdom that help us choose action over emotion, turning potential turmoil into personal triumph. One such method is both simple and profound. The power of the pause. When an emotion flares up, perhaps during a tense conversation or a stressful moment, pause. Just a few seconds. It may not seem like much, but this pause becomes a protective buffer, a quiet space where your rational mind can step forward and take the lead. During that brief moment, ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Is this reaction based on fact or assumption? Is this emotion helping me act in accordance with my values or pulling me away from them? This pause is a buffer, giving your rational mind time to wake up and process the situation. During this brief interlude, you can assess the emotion. Is it anger, frustration, fear? Acknowledging what you feel, naming the emotion without judgment, can immediately reduce its grip. It's a simple act, yet a powerful one. When we shine a light on an emotion, we take away some of its control. This creates the space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another key Stoic strategy is reframing, cognitive reframing, to be exact. This involves intentionally shifting how we interpret a situation. For instance, if someone cuts you off in traffic, your instinct might be to flare up with anger, assuming they're careless or disrespectful. But what if you took a different view? Maybe they're rushing to a hospital, dealing with an emergency, or simply lost in a moment of panic. By changing your narrative, you change your emotional experience. You begin to replace frustration with curiosity, or even compassion. It doesn't excuse poor behavior, but it allows you to preserve your peace, your most valuable internal resource. Isn't that worth protecting? Values-based decision-making is another essential pillar of Stoic practice. This means making choices based on your core principles, not your passing emotional states. Ask yourself, does reacting with irritation or hostility align with the person I want to be? What would the wisest, calmest version of myself do right now? This introspection isn't just philosophical, it's deeply practical. When your choices are grounded in values, you're building a self that's consistent, intentional, and resilient. You're not just reacting to life, you're shaping who you are through every decision. Another vital Stoic insight is the practice of emotional acceptance. This doesn't mean passively enduring discomfort or pretending you're unaffected. Instead, it means allowing yourself to feel an emotion without needing to act on it immediately or condemn yourself for feeling it. Imagine your emotions as clouds floating by in the sky. Some are light, others stormy, but none are permanent. You observe them without chasing them or letting them carry you away. Each of these techniques: acknowledgement, reframing, value-based responses, and acceptance, is more than a quick fix for a bad day. They are part of a lifestyle, a deliberate training of the mind and heart. Their power lies in consistency. The more you practice, the more natural they become. Over time, they transform how you experience and respond to the world. By incorporating these Stoic methods into your daily routine, you'll start to notice a shift. Not only will your emotional reactions become more balanced and measured, but your overall sense of clarity, calm, and control will grow. You'll find yourself living more deliberately, more fully, and more in tune with the Stoic principles you've chosen to embody. When we choose our actions consciously, ensuring they align with rational thought rather than being ruled by temporary emotional waves, we cultivate a deep inner steadiness. This steadiness becomes visible to others. It radiates through our words, decisions, and energy. In relationships, this kind of emotional stability builds trust. Loved ones begin to view us as reliable, as strong and calm figures they can count on, especially during difficult times. We become less likely to escalate conflict and more likely to resolve it. We offer not just companionship, but emotional safety, an anchor when storms arise. Professionally, the ability to remain poised and composed under pressure is invaluable in the workplace. Emotions can easily surge in high-stakes environments. Tensions flare during team conflicts, deadlines loom large, and stakes feel personal. Yet, the ability to maintain composure, to keep a clear head when everyone else is spinning, is what truly distinguishes effective leaders. This isn't about pretending to be unaffected or suppressing how we feel. Rather, it's about managing our responses, choosing to act in a deliberate, thoughtful way, even in the face of emotional turbulence. Decisions made in such a composed state are rarely impulsive. They tend to be more strategic, more carefully weighed, and ultimately more beneficial, not only for the individual but for the team and organization as a whole. This calm decisiveness reflects a higher level of leadership, one that garners respect, inspires confidence, and is often emulated by others who seek steadiness amidst chaos. Furthermore, choosing actions over emotions is not just beneficial in the moment, it's transformative over time. This consistent practice leads to personal resilience and mental strength. The Stoics taught that our greatest difficulties aren't mere inconveniences, they're invitations to grow. Each challenge faced with a level head becomes a stepping stone to greater emotional mastery. When we practice staying calm and composed during hardships, we prepare ourselves to face future adversities with even more clarity and confidence. This steady resilience carries a ripple effect into our overall well-being. Stress and anxiety begin to lose their edge, no longer dictating our days. We feel more in control, more grounded. Depression lifts as we build the inner strength to meet life on our terms. In this way, we're not merely reacting to what life throws at us, we're actively shaping our journey through it, making every challenge an opportunity to refine our character. Another invaluable benefit of the Stoic approach is the deepening of self-awareness and self-regulation. These aren't abstract ideas, they're skills that, once cultivated, can profoundly change the way we move through the world. When we start to understand our emotional triggers, we can begin to diffuse them before they erupt. This emotional literacy empowers us not only to manage ourselves, but also to extend greater empathy and insight toward others. That as our awareness expands, we become better communicators, more sensitive to the emotional landscapes of those around. Our relationships benefit. Social interactions become smoother, less reactive, and more adaptive. We're able to read the room, respond to different personalities, and create stronger, more respectful connections. All of this flows from the foundational Stoic idea: choose action, not emotion. This practice equips us with tools not just for survival, but for excellence. We don't merely exist, we evolve. By embodying the principles of Stoicism, we move through life with intention, constantly refining ourselves while making a positive impact on everyone we touch. We become examples not of perfection, but of what it looks like to stay rooted in values, even when tested. Mastering your emotions and consistently choosing rational actions over impulsive reactions is no small feat. It's a lifelong discipline, a profound personal challenge that demands dedication, patience, and resolve. But as Stoicism teaches, it's within this very struggle that true strength is forged. In this journey, we're bound to encounter moments that shake us, obstacles that push our limits and test our commitment to Stoic principles. One of the most formidable of these is the sheer intensity and speed of our emotional reactions. Emotions by nature are powerful. They can overwhelm even the most seasoned practitioners. They come fast, often triggered by deep-rooted habits and patterns, ingrained over years, sometimes decades. But here's the key: we're not aiming to silence these emotions. Instead, we strive to acknowledge them fully without surrendering to them. We learn to coexist with our emotions while retaining our ability to choose what happens next. This isn't about resistance, but awareness. Doing so demands a high level of self-awareness and, more importantly, the cultivated ability to pause, especially in the heat of the moment. That pause, brief as it may be, creates space to reflect, to realign, to respond in a way that honors our higher intentions rather than momentary impulses. And like any valuable skill, it's one honed only through consistent, deliberate practice and mindfulness. Another significant challenge in practicing Stoicism consistently is maintaining that consistency in real-world conditions. It's one thing to remain calm, grounded, and composed in a controlled environment, perhaps during a quiet evening of journaling or while reading philosophy. But it's a completely different test to sustain that same mental discipline when under real pressure, during moments of adversity, emotional conflict, or sudden crisis. How do we react when everything seems to unravel? This is where the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum becomes particularly powerful. This technique, visualizing potential difficulties and mentally preparing for them before they happen, helps strengthen our mental resilience. Like training before a storm, it familiarizes us with adversity in advance. By simulating setbacks in our minds, we reduce the shock and discomfort when actual challenges strike. It doesn't eliminate hardship, but it blunts its emotional blow, allowing us to respond with greater calm and clarity. But mental preparedness alone isn't always enough. We must also contend with skepticism, both internal and external. Internally, you may ask yourself, can Stoic principles really help me handle real-life problems? In moments of doubt or disappointment, the philosophical concepts may seem abstract or insufficient. Externally, peers or society at large may dismiss emotional regulation as impractical, viewing it as too cold, too detached, or even unnecessary in a world that celebrates raw emotional expression. Overcoming this skepticism involves more than defending Stoicism in theory. It means demonstrating its impact through how we live. When others witness your ability to remain calm under pressure, to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. They begin to see the practical value of Stoic discipline. You become a quiet example of what composure looks like in chaos. And in doing so, you reaffirm your own belief in the path you've chosen. Still, integrating Stoic practices into daily life is no easy task. The modern world is fast-paced, saturated with stimulation, and often rewards immediate emotional reaction. Social media, instant messaging, and constant connectivity pull us towards speed and surface-level reactions. In such an environment, it becomes even more important to intentionally carve out time for daily reflection through journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation. These routines serve as anchors, helping us realign with Stoic values and turn abstract ideas into lived experiences. By committing to these small daily actions, Stoicism becomes not just something we study, but something we live. It becomes a quiet foundation beneath our every decision, gradually influencing how we speak, think, and interact. Overcoming these challenges isn't just about endurance. It's about committing fully to personal growth and inner development. Each challenge becomes a test and an opportunity to practice and reinforce our Stoic virtues. By steadfastly applying these principles, we don't just make it through difficulty, we emerge stronger, more centered, and better equipped to meet future adversity. Our growth is visible, not just to ourselves, but to everyone around us. Consider a typical workplace scenario. You've poured time and energy into a project. During your presentation, a colleague unexpectedly interrupts with pointed criticism, perhaps even sounding dismissive or unfair. Your first impulse? Likely frustration, maybe even anger. You might feel the urge to defend your work immediately, letting emotion take the wheel. But applying Stoic thought, you could instead pause. That brief moment of stillness allows you to acknowledge your internal reaction without letting it control your external behavior. Instead of retaliating or shutting down, you choose to respond with measured calm. You ask for specific feedback that might actually improve your project. The result? You preserve the relationship, maintain your composure, and build your reputation as someone who remains thoughtful and open, even under pressure. Now picture a more personal situation: a disagreement with a loved one, a partner, a sibling, or a parent. In the heat of emotion, even minor miscommunications can spiral into unnecessary conflict. But here too, a Stoic approach provides clarity. A Stoic approach would involve recognizing the emotional triggers as they arise, and consciously choosing to respond with understanding rather than reactivity. This may involve something as simple, yet powerful, as pausing before speaking, taking a moment to truly listen and reflect before formulating a response. It might mean setting aside the instinct to immediately fix the issue or defend oneself, and instead offering the other person space to express their concerns fully. By doing so, we not only open the door for more thoughtful communication, but also signal respect and emotional maturity. Such a response doesn't just diffuse tension, it actively fosters connection, encouraging mutual respect and empathy. In fact, by allowing the dialogue to unfold with patience, we often find the root of the issue can be addressed more constructively. This approach turns what might have been a heated argument into an opportunity to strengthen the bond, rather than damage it. In another essential area of personal development, consider the ongoing challenge of self-discipline, particularly in everyday matters like keeping to a fitness routine or maintaining a balanced diet. These are commitments many people make, but few maintain without lapses. Why? Because it's easy, all too easy, to yield to momentary temptations, skipping the gym because you're tired, or reaching for that sugary snack despite your goals. Here, Stoicism reminds us to step back and reconnect with our long-term values and goals. It calls us to act not based on fleeting urges but guided by our deeper purpose. By invoking this Stoic mindset, you're not simply saying no to short-term pleasure, you're saying yes to the version of yourself you're trying to build. Each decision to uphold discipline reinforces your willpower and strengthens your alignment with what truly matters to you. Moreover, Stoicism offers profound tools for enhancing our resilience and mental health, particularly in times of sorrow, disappointment, or adversity. Consider moments of real-life pain: losing a loved one, suffering a financial loss, or enduring personal setbacks. In such periods, emotions can become overwhelming. But rather than denying those emotions, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what remains within our control: our reactions, our values, and our choices. It's natural to grieve, to feel sorrow, to hurt. Stoicism doesn't ask us to shut those feelings away. It invites us to acknowledge them fully, but not be consumed by them. Our emotions are part of the human journey, but they do not need to steer the ship. Instead, we allow ourselves to feel, and then choose how we act. In doing so, we maintain our integrity and uphold our character, even in moments of personal storm. In each of these real-life scenarios, the practical application of Stoicism becomes clear. The real-life application of Stoicism doesn't involve suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. Rather, it's about consciously deciding not to let them govern our behavior. This practice doesn't merely help us survive difficult situations, it nurtures a life built on purpose, integrity, and inner wisdom. One of the central tenets of Stoic practice is the regulation of emotional responses, concept strikingly similar to what modern psychology now identifies as emotional regulation. Far from the idea of repressing feelings, this principle emphasizes awareness, control, and intention in how we respond to what we feel. Interestingly, research in psychology shows that those who manage their emotional responses effectively tend to enjoy better mental health, more satisfying relationships, and a deeper sense of life satisfaction. These findings affirm what Stoic thinkers observed centuries ago, that by training ourselves to manage our impulses, we open the door to a more stable, fulfilling life. And now, even neuroscience sheds light on why these Stoic strategies work so well. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for complex thinking and decision-making, plays a key role in moderating emotional responses, which are initially triggered in the brain's more primal centers, like the amygdala. When we engage in Stoic techniques such as mindfulness, reflection, or cognitive reframing, we're effectively strengthening the very part of the brain that helps us respond wisely instead of impulsively. That means each time we pause to reflect or choose reason over reaction, we're not just following philosophy, we're physically rewiring our brains toward greater resilience and self-mastery. When we practice Stoic techniques like mindfulness or cognitive reframing, we're essentially training our prefrontal cortex to take the lead in emotional situations. By doing this consistently, we not only become more emotionally balanced, but we also enhance our ability to navigate stress with clarity and composure. Over time, this practice builds a kind of neural endurance, making it easier to choose thoughtful, deliberate responses instead of reactive outbursts. Even when the pressure is high or emotions run deep, what supports this transformation is the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reshape and reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout our lives. This isn't just theory. It's a powerful validation of Stoic techniques. Each moment we choose patience over irritation or reflection over impulsiveness, we are strengthening the neural circuits that support those virtuous behaviors. Like lifting weights at the gym builds muscle, each Stoic action reinforces the mental pathways that allow us to regulate emotions and remain steady under pressure. This is akin to building muscle through exercise. Just as physical training makes our bodies stronger and more resilient, Stoic training through reflection, restraint, and awareness develops our emotional fortitude. The more we practice these methods, the more instinctual and automatic they become. Science backs this up. Studies show that consistent engagement with mindfulness and reflective techniques, both foundational to Stoic living, can lead to physical changes in the brain areas responsible for emotional awareness, empathy, and stress management. Beyond the realm of psychology and neuroscience, behavioral science offers further support for the Stoic approach, particularly through its insights on habit formation. Habits shape the majority of our actions and decisions, often more than we realize. Stoicism places great value on developing virtuous habits through deliberate and consistent practice, echoing what behavioral research confirms, that forming positive routines leads to meaningful and lasting personal transformation. This process isn't about making one perfect choice, but rather many small, intentional choices repeated over time. By choosing courage over comfort, or temperance over indulgence day after day, we slowly redefine our character and behavior. In this way, Stoicism becomes not just a guiding philosophy, but a practical framework for personal development. And, when aligned with the principles of modern science, its wisdom proves even more relevant. It gives us not only the strength to endure adversity, but the tools to flourish despite it, grounded in evidence that these ancient methods cultivate long-term happiness, mental resilience, and a deep, meaningful life. One of the most effective daily practices is the discipline of mindfulness. This simple yet powerful habit encourages us to slow down and become fully aware of the present moment, without judgment or distraction. It's not about escaping reality, but about being fully immersed in it, allowing us to create a buffer between stimulus and response. To begin, all it takes is a few quiet minutes in the morning or evening. During this time, reflect gently on your thoughts, feelings, and reactions from the day. Did you respond with patience when challenged? Did you act in alignment with your values? This practice gradually builds a mental space around your emotions, helping you respond with thoughtfulness rather than impulsivity. Mindfulness doesn't require elaborate rituals. It can be practiced while walking, eating, or even during a conversation, by simply being attentive and present. The key is consistency. Over time, this habit strengthens our ability to remain grounded, even in moments of stress or uncertainty. Is another powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit. It allows for structured reflection, helping you process your daily experiences and recognize patterns in your behavior. Writing about what went well and what could be improved not only fosters accountability, but also strengthens self-awareness and emotional discipline. Through regular journaling, we turn everyday events into lessons tools that guide us toward becoming more virtuous, resilient, and intentional in how we live. This reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about self-improvement. The aim is not to dwell on mistakes, but to learn from them with honesty and clarity. As you journal, write about moments where you effectively applied Stoic principles. Perhaps you stayed composed during a conflict, or made a thoughtful choice when tempted by impulse. Equally important is to acknowledge the times when you fell short. Did frustration get the better of you? Did you respond rashly when you could have paused? These entries are not confessions. They are stepping stones toward growth. Over time, as the entries accumulate, you'll begin to recognize patterns, habits that empower you, and areas where greater effort is needed. This insight is invaluable. It turns vague intentions into actionable targets, gradually guiding you toward a more disciplined, reflective life rooted in Stoic values. Visualization is a practice often used by athletes, but is equally valuable in Stoic practice. Think of it as mental rehearsal, a powerful preparation that helps you align intention with behavior. Each morning, take a few quiet moments to imagine your day ahead. Picture yourself encountering a stressful moment at work, and instead of reacting with irritation, you meet it with patience and calm. Imagine resolving a disagreement at home, not with heated words, but with compassion, reason, and control. By visualizing these moments, you're not merely daydreaming, you're training your mind. When these events actually happen, you're far more likely to respond with integrity and grace, because you've already rehearsed it. This practice helps embed Stoic virtues deeply into your consciousness, making them more available in real life situations. Another daily practice is to set clear intentions for the day. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Which Stoic virtue do I want to embody? Courage in the face of fear, temperance when faced with temptation, justice in my interactions, or wisdom in my decisions. Choose one and carry it with you throughout the day like a compass. When a difficult moment arises, revisit that intention mentally. It can serve as a guidepost to help you act in alignment with your values rather than your emotions. This small act of daily intention setting can lead to profound behavioral shifts over time. It helps you stay grounded, especially when the world around you becomes chaotic or unpredictable. Finally, it's crucial to practice gratitude. The Stoics believe that a key to happiness lies not in accumulating more, but in appreciating what is already present. Each evening, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be grand or dramatic. It could be the comfort of a warm meal, a smile from a stranger, a productive meeting, or simply the fact that you showed up and tried your best. This ritual gently trains your mind to shift focus away from scarcity and lack, and toward abundance and presence. Over time, this fosters not just contentment, but also resilience, a quiet strength that allows you to remain balanced and hopeful, even during difficult times. These practices are not just exercises, they are transformative processes that, when consistently woven into daily life, shape us into more resilient, thoughtful, and balanced individuals. They are the bridge between Stoic theory and daily experience, between abstract ideals and real-world behavior. With repetition and intention, these tools help us live with greater purpose and respond with greater clarity. No matter what challenges arise, starting with mindfulness training, it's essential to cultivate a practice where you deliberately focus on the present moment. This can begin with something as simple as sitting in silence for 5 minutes each morning. During this time, focus on your breathing, observe your thoughts, and let them pass without attachment. Think of it as a mental reset before the demands of the day begin. As this becomes a habit, you may find it natural to increase the duration to 10, 15, or even 20 minutes. The benefits are tangible. You'll find yourself less reactive, more grounded, and better able to stay calm under pressure. It becomes easier to notice the gap between stimulus and response, and to make use of that space to choose wisely. Next is the emotional log. This is a tool for tracking emotional experiences and gaining insight into their origins. Each day, record instances where you felt strong emotions, whether anger, anxiety, joy, or sadness. Note the circumstances that triggered these feelings and reflect on how you responded. Did you act in alignment with your values? What could you do differently next time? Over time, this log becomes a map of your inner world. It highlights recurring triggers, reveals emotional patterns, and enables you to develop specific strategies to manage them more effectively. Rather than being at the mercy of your emotions, you become a mindful observer of them, capable of responding with thoughtfulness, rather than reacting on impulse. Then there's the practice of deliberately exposing yourself to discomfort. This might involve taking a cold shower in the morning, engaging in intermittent fasting, or pushing through a particularly intense workout session. These activities, though physically or mentally taxing, serve a powerful purpose. They train your mind and body to become comfortable with discomfort. The underlying goal is to cultivate resilience and inner strength, reinforcing the Stoic belief that external circumstances should not be allowed to disturb our internal peace. By voluntarily choosing discomfort, we remind ourselves that we are capable of enduring more than we think. The cold of the water, the pangs of hunger, or the burn of effort are not obstacles, they are opportunities. They show us that fear and discomfort are temporary, and they can be faced head-on. This kind of daily training strengthens the will and aligns our actions with the Stoic principle of maintaining composure regardless of external challenges. Visualization also plays a crucial role. Dedicate a few quiet minutes each day to mentally walk through the potential difficulties you might encounter. Picture yourself calmly navigating a disagreement at work, showing patience instead of irritation. Envision yourself resisting temptation. When it arises, staying grounded in your principles. This process of mental rehearsal prepares your mind and nervous system to act in accordance with your values when real-life trials appear. It's not just an exercise in imagination, it's practice for the soul. The more vividly you rehearse the responses you wish to embody, the more naturally they will surface when you need them. Over time, this visualization helps turn abstract Stoic ideals into practical, habitual behavior. A pivotal Stoic practice is setting a daily intention or a catalyst, a single, meaningful act that reflects your deepest values and helps push you toward your long-term goals. It doesn't need to be grand. It could be something as simple as choosing to be especially generous with your time today, or making a conscious effort to show patience in conversations. The power of this practice lies in its clarity. By identifying one specific action and committing to it, you're more likely to follow through and create a ripple effect of good choices throughout your day. This single act of mindful intention, like a stone dropped into a pond, sends waves outward, subtly influencing your mindset, your behavior, and your interactions. It keeps you aligned and grounded in your purpose, even when distractions or stress try to pull you away. Incorporating micro-decisions is another key habit. Throughout the day, pay attention to the small but frequent choices you make, from what you eat for lunch, to how you greet a colleague, or how you phrase a response to an email. While each decision might appear minor, together they create the fabric of your daily life. These micro-decisions are the building blocks of character. By making them with awareness and intention, you strengthen your decision-making muscle and ensure that your life reflects your chosen principles, not automatic habits or fleeting moods. As the Stoics would agree, the path to virtue is not found only in great deeds, but in how we carry ourselves in ordinary moments. Ending your day with a gratitude slam can shift your focus from what went wrong to what went right. Take a moment and, with energy and conviction, articulate 3 things you're genuinely thankful for. Don't just list them, really feel them. Whether it's the laughter of a loved one, the satisfaction of a task completed, or even just the gift of good health, this practice trains your mind to notice and celebrate the good that is already present. Gratitude isn't just about feeling better, it's a tool for perspective. It redirects your attention away from lack and frustration, fostering a deep sense of resilience and grounded optimism. This kind of mindset is a vital ally on the Stoic path. A weekly feedback loop with a trusted friend or mentor about your behavior and reactions can also be a powerful tool for personal development. This doesn't require formal evaluation, just A sincere, open conversation where you discuss your recent actions, choices, and emotional responses. The goal is not judgment, but insight. Yes, this requires humility. It's not always easy to hear how others perceive us. But through this shared reflection, we gain access to perspectives we often overlook on our own. Over time, this practice helps us spot blind spots in our character and make consistent progress toward living a more aligned and virtuous life that you might otherwise miss. Practicing the emotion-action split involves developing the ability to pause, reflect, and make intentional choices. When a strong emotion surfaces, be it anger, fear, frustration, or even excitement, take a breath. Instead of reacting immediately, name the emotion. This is irritation, or this is anxiety. By labeling what you're feeling, you create just enough space between emotion and action to choose a wiser path forward. Why is this important? Because emotions are fleeting, but actions often have lasting consequences. This deliberate pause gives your rational mind time to assess the situation and decide on a response that aligns with your values, not just your mood. Over time, this practice rewires your habitual responses, weakening impulsive reactions and reinforcing thoughtful behavior. It's not about ignoring your emotions, but about ensuring they don't dictate your every move. Lastly, daily philosophical reading, such as a page from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations or Epictetus's Enchiridion, can serve as a powerful source of mental nourishment. These ancient texts are not dusty relics of the past, but living guides that speak to the universal human struggle for meaning, self-control, and peace of mind. Just a few minutes of reading in the morning or before bed can center your mind, inspire resolve, and remind you of what truly matters. Such readings are like daily mental vitamins. They strengthen your commitment to Stoic values, sharpen your awareness, and prepare you to face whatever the day may bring with grace and wisdom. They also serve as quiet companions, voices from the past echoing into the present, guiding your journey inward. These 10 habits are not just activities, but are gateways to transforming your life in line with Stoic wisdom. Each one builds upon the other, forming a comprehensive system of self-mastery. When practiced consistently, they help cultivate a calm mind, a resilient spirit, and a clear moral compass. Through small, daily efforts, you forge a character that does not bend with every gust of emotion or adversity. As you integrate these practices into your daily routine, you'll discover a subtle but profound shift. Challenges become less threatening. Moments of stress become chances to apply your training. Life begins to feel less chaotic and more coherent, less about control and more about clarity. Each day presents a new opportunity to practice these habits. Each practice, a step towards mastering the art of living well. Thank you for joining US Today on Stoic Journal. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to strengthen your mind and lead a life of purpose and resilience. Be sure to watch one of our suggested videos to continue your journey with Stoicism, enriching your understanding and practice. We're grateful to have you in our community, exploring the profound wisdom of the Stoics together.